Yake satini stikat yuhan achtu ushkana hutu ade. Lingit yuchatungish dutus tuwut. Good to see you guys. I'm happy we're meeting to study Lingit together. I'm gonna share my screen and show you what I have for today. I got the day right and everything. It's looking like a good day. Day yagi, yagi. At kadechet yana desi. You do wasak yadis. It's second day of the week, Tuesday, a month before animals give birth, and 21 days have passed this month. Couple updates. Some of the things we're going to talk about are what are you eating? So in the last few classes, we've been talking about other people, not me, not you, but another third person, and asking each other, what are they eating? Just being real nosy. So today we're going to go over direct questions for two people talking to each other about what they're eating. What are you eating? I'm eating fish. So expect that today. We'll be starting to talk next week about where you're going and some of the other conversation topics that you all requested that you're looking ahead and thinking ahead about, things you might say during celebration to each other and how to talk about things like that in Tlingit. So one update I have is that we're meeting today and this Thursday, but then next week, as well as the week after that, we won't have class. So June 4th, the week of June 4th is celebration. That's the week after next. We were already planning not to have class then. But in addition to that, I got asked to pull with the cake crew on canoe journey again this year. I'm really excited. I've booked all my travel and I'm prepared. But because of it, we won't have class next week. So we'll meet for this week, but not next week or the week after. Our next class after this week will be June 11th. Any questions about that? So far, this class is planning to meet until June 27th. That would be our last day. And we're talking about extending it for a week. We just need to figure out the logistics, so I'll keep you updated. So the month name this month, go ahead and unmute your mics and repeat after me. Atkadechet Yena Disi. Okay, month before the animals multiply. For warm up today, I wanted to follow up on our warm up from last week. Last week, we took some translation questions that one of you shared with me, and I've been taking you on this process for how I handle translation from English to Tlingit. And when you're translating from English to Tlingit, you're not just translating literally the words and their meanings, but you're also thinking about how to say things according to Tlingit culture and Tlingit Tundatani, or way of thinking. So just to recap, my process for this is to look up phrases in Tlingit or Tlingit the phrase book and the audio CD for common phrases in Tlingit. So we started there last week. The phrases on the far right are the English phrases that you gave me, and then the far left are Tlingit phrases that we found that were more or less on point for what you were trying to get at in English. So I added a third column in the middle with the literal translation of the phrase. So you can see some comparison between what we were going for, what we might say in English, and then compare that to the literal meaning of what we might say in Tlingit. So when you do that, you're looking through the phrase book, you're looking for phrases and Thankfully, if you're doing that, you can count on it mostly being correct spelling and pronunciation because they're all documented from fluent birth speakers. Depending on the resource, maybe sometimes the way it's written might have changed. But what I wanted to do was double check our work because some of these I recalled from memory and I didn't open up the resource and look at it. So I'm going to take you through that process today. So the first one is I hope to see you again. And we came up with two phrases that are pretty similar to that. Ziyagin and Ziyakwasatin. These we pulled from memory, so I'm gonna look them up and see if I spell them right. First one is Ziyagin, and I'm gonna look this one up in the dictionary. And you guys can do the same if you have your resources open. So this is the Lingit dictionary, and I just typed in my search function, Ziyagin, and it pulled it up under this entry under time. And the meaning of Ziyagin is after a while or later on. So we're using this similar to slang. We're saying later. And the way it's spelled is with a high tone double A. Most commonly, this is where I'll make a spelling error if I'm trying to pull something from memory. So I'm going to just double check and see if I wrote it correctly. And it looks good. So now that we did that, let's practice this one. Repeat this phrase after me. Ziyagin. Ah. Next one is I'll see you again. I'm going to spell check this. And do you guys know where you've seen this in a resource before? Which one?
Beginning Lingit workbook, kind of like the reducing yourself phrases, or I can't remember. It's like page 40 or something.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so like you mentioned, the beginning Click It workbook, I just opened it. And I'm just opening my search bar and typing in see you again. And it looks like that entry appears 3 times. So I'm going to click on them and see what we find. Here we have the first appearance of this phrase, I'll see you again. And we have low tone all the way until the end of teen. And that's where I'll make sure I have a high tone double E. And so you can see I put a high tone E and yay. So I'm just going to change it to low tone to match our resource. And then I'm going to look at, just out of curiosity, I'm going to look at the other entries or appearances of this phrase in the book. Okay, now we see it as part of a dialogue in the beginning Click It workbook. I'll come see you again tomorrow. Okay, so we see a similar phrase. So now that this one, we're comfortable with the spelling, please repeat this one after me. This line, tsuye ikwasatin. Ah. Next one I pulled from my own memory. I remember reading Beginning Tlingit, and I just saw it on the other resource on that same page. And it's I hope it will be so. So we have this one English phrase, I hope to see you again. And the first two we're just saying later, I will see you again. Maybe a response would be, I hope it will be so. So I'm going to look at that dialogue in the beginning Tlingit workbook. And I'm also going to show you the OG dialogue that I remembered seeing it in. So if we go again, see you again. In the beginning Tlingit workbook, under the chapter Dasawaiyatin, you see this conversation, this dialogue that you can practice. But if you scroll down to these lines, person A says, I'll see you again. And then person B says this phrase, repeat this after me.
Ah,
Tuach.
Peshe Wutik.
Wutich.
Yeah. And that just means I hope that's how it is. So I'll see you again. And the other person says, yeah, I hope so. Um, and I see a spelling difference from how I just, did my best first guess. I'm seeing a correction here. So it should be short. Wutiq. I'm going to fix mine. I typed it with two O's. And looks like high tone she and high tone ye. Let's see if we did that correct. Yeah, she and ye. These are high tone, and then wutiq is all low tone. I want to show you really quickly while we're looking at this. The first book I used. Where'd it go? The first book I used is this one. It's called Beginning Lingit. And Rene used this book to write the Beginning Lingit workbook, and he adapted it, including more illustrations and things like that. But my very first semester learning Tlingit, this was the page we looked at and we practiced with each other. So it's kind of nostalgic for me to look at it. And this is, I think, the very first lesson. And there's some pretty challenging phrases in here if you're new. I just want to try one of them. I remember this one being kind of like, whoa, when I was brand new to Tlingit. But they're asking, do you understand Lingit? And so I'll say it and then we'll break it down and do each little part before we move on. So, first one, just do your best, repeat after me. Tlingit ge
Yeah, okay.
Ingeke Ia Ach.
good. So this phrase actually means to hear. Do you hear Tlingit? It means like, do you understand it? And we'll see this phrase again. I've been looking ahead in the beginning Tlingit workbook about listening, and so we'll see this verb root ach. But you can when we talk about the resource Tlingit ach, that ach is the same ach that you're seeing here for listening. But to get back to our point, there were a couple more that we had that actually we pulled this one straight from the resource. And so we're just going to practice it. You're dressed nice. And just repeat this last, starting with the id, or actually we'll start from the sh. Repeat this part after me. Shiduya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's this pattern, this grammatical pattern that we use in Tlingit to talk about the way that you do something. So when the translation says you're dressed nice, it actually means it's good the way you dressed yourself. And so you'll have this pattern that goes de, verb yeah. So de, verb yeah. That means the way that you verbed. So just keep your eye out for that one. It's more intermediate and advanced, but we're just looking ahead. So repeat this one after me, line 3. Yike ade shiduya.
Yak a de shi de ya.
Good. Okay, good. And I think for our warm up, there's just one more exercise I wanted to take you through. We talked about liking your button blanket or that it's very fancy. Um, line 4, I split it into two lines and I wanted to show you how I do this. So the phrase we started with from an English mindset is, can you meet for coffee? And in English, that's very simple. When you translate something like this into another language, uh, you have to be conscientious of combining ideas. Like fluent speakers can do it. You can combine two ideas into one sentence. As a beginner in the language, I recommend breaking those two ideas each into their own sentence. So to be more clear, can you meet for coffee involves one idea, which is meeting for coffee, and a second idea, whether or not you're able to do it. And so in English, you just add the word can you, and it's pretty simple. In Tlingit, you have to do a little bit more. So what I do as a beginning learner is I'll break it into two, and I put the English translations here so that you can see my process. Instead of saying, can you meet for coffee? Maybe I'll make it into two simple sentences. I need coffee, and do you want to come with me? So it just makes it a little easier. And I'm going to take you into Lingit Class to show you the translations of these. Does that make sense so far? Okay. So,
Thank you.
okay. On Lingit Class, which is the phrase, the audio CD means hear it in Tlingit. There's track 15, and I'm just pulling phrases from this section because there are two that align with what we're trying to get at. And I'll zoom in to make it bigger. So there's a couple phrases here. I need to go to town. Do you want to come with me? I'm gonna say, so do you guys know the Tlingit word for town?
Quan?
Yeah, close. It's on. On. And so this first word is on, and then the de means toward. So I need to go to town. They sort of just say toward town. I'm going, or I need. So I'm gonna replace toward town with coffee and say, what's coffee in Tlingit?
Achwe.
I'm gonna say kahwe achtuati. I'm gonna write this into our graph that we're using. Kahwe achtuati. I need coffee. Kahwe achtuati. So please repeat this line after me, line 4A. Kahwe achtuati.
Achwe.
Achwe achtuati.
So if I'm sitting with you at celebration, I'm dozing off, I need coffee, I'm gonna get up. I might say this to you first. Kahwe achtuati. If I want to invite you to come with me, I might use this phrase. Do you want to come with me? Repeat this after me. Ach inge ituati.
Ach.
Ach inge etuati.
Good. I'll copy this one into our table. Ach inge ituati. Do you want to come with me? So let's practice these two back to back, 4A and 4B. Say we're sitting next to each other and we're going to get up and get coffee and invite the person next to us to come. So repeat after me. Kahwe achtuati.
Achwe.
Achwe achtuati.
Ach inge ituati.
Ach.
Ach inge etuati.
Okay. Are you guys able to look at these two phrases and break down any of the specific words and their meanings?
There's a ge, which indicates the yes/no question, I think. Is me, and tuati is like I want.
Yeah, I want or I need. Okay, good. Yeah, so this first two words mean with me. So repeat just these after me. Ach in.
Ach.
Achin.
Yeah, okay.
I was thinking of like, if I really am falling asleep, I'm probably not going to be able to remember this, but I might do some like Tarzan preschool talk and just say kahwe hagu.
Yeah,
Just get over here. Give me some
yeah.
coffee.
Yeah, don't be ashamed to simplify. I think some of the stuff I said to Renee, I had a personal goal my first semester learning Tlingit to only speak Tlingit to Renee. I don't
Mhm.
know how he knew what I was saying. I guess he just has that level of fluency. But like little by little, I would learn the correct way to say things. I would look back at how I said it to him, and sometimes he would just know what I was getting at. I was like, whoa. Yeah. Yeah, if someone says kahwe and goes like this to me, I'd be like, oh, we're getting coffee. I see.
Yeah.
And
Rich.
let's do, yeah, let's do this last line too. It's coffee time. Repeat after me. Kahwe gawo aya.
Ahwe.
Ahwe. Go. Oops.
Yeah. One more time. Kahwe gawo aya.
Kahwe.
Ahwe.
Ahwe ga wu aya.
Yeah.
Okay. It's coffee time. So that's it for our warm up. Usually I have you guys do review first, but you're all very comfortable with what we've been reviewing. So today we're going to introduce new vocabulary, which are 3 different types of hot liquids. We're going to start talking about what are you sipping? I'm sipping. And first one, please repeat after me. Tahini.
Tahini.
Uh, Chayu.
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 And kahwe.
Kahwe.
And again, tahini.
Tahini.
Chayu.
Chayu.
Kahwe.
Kahwe.
Tahini.
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 Chayu.
Chayu.
Kahwe.
Kahwe.
So for sipping hot liquids, we're going to start with the question, what are you sipping? And please repeat this first line after me. Da sa ihluk.
Dasa ilu.
The first 2 words, dasa, mean what, like tell me what. And then ihluk is you are sipping. To respond, I am sipping. Repeat this after me. Chaluk.
Luke.
Ahluch.
Yeah. So we go from ihluk to chaluk. We're going from you're sipping to I'm sipping. So if you're sipping kahwe, what would you say for this bottom line?
Kahwe. Chalu.
Okay, good. And if you're sipping tea, repeat after me. Chayu chaluk.
Chayu.
Chalu.
And if you're sipping soup, tahini chaluk.
Tahini. Chalu.
Good. So we're going to use these in drills, but first let's look at them all on one page. I like to do an overview now before we do drills so that you can see the English meaning, you can see them all together, and we'll practice our pronunciation. So first one, what are you sipping? Repeat after me. Da sa ihluk.
Dasa ilu.
Tahini chaluk.
Tahini. Chalu.
Chayu chaluk.
Chayu. Chalu.
And kahwe chaluk.
Kahwe. Chalu.
Yeah. What does the second line in B mean? I am sipping what?
Tea.
Tea, yeah. And what does this last one mean? Kahwe chaluk.
Coffee.
Yeah, oh wait, I'm sipping coffee. Good. So, for the first round, just please repeat after me again. The top line, da sa iluk.
Rasa
Ilu.
ilu.
And what does that mean in English?
What you sipping on?
Yeah, what you're sipping on. And the last, the response, repeat after me. Tahini chaluk.
Tahini. Ilu.
And what's this mean in English? Yeah, I'm sipping soup. So for the next ones, let's do it drill style. I'll read the top line and you please read the bottom line, the response. Da sa iluk.
Ayu.
Chayu.
Ah. Da sa iluk.
Ahwe. Hahlu.
Ah. So that was a conversation between me and you. What are you sipping? I'm sipping coffee. If we're talking about someone else, we can see they're sipping on something, but we don't know what it is. Maybe we're wondering where they got it. We're talking about they, a singular they. And in this case, the lluk part will look the same whether I'm asking the question or you're responding, because we're both talking about the same person sipping. It's not me, it's not you, it's this third other person, the singular they. So if we want to say they are sipping broth or soup, repeat after me, please. Tahini lluk.
Tahini. Ilu.
Ah. And then asking what are they sipping? Da sa lluk.
Dasa. Ilu.
And then if they're sipping coffee, kahwe lluk.
Ahwe.
Yeah. So now we're looking at, it's not I lluk or cha lluk. We're talking about a third person. Now it looks like a lluk. And just to give you an elementary breakdown of this lluk and how it works, we have lluk, which is the core meaning or the verb root. That's the meaning of to sip a hot liquid. And you can see in the gloss beneath that they literally type sip hot liquid. This is like a specific verb to sip a hot liquid because the way you sip on soup is going to be different from the way you guzzle water. So it has its own word. And then the last thing I'll point out is since y'all seem familiar, pretty familiar with different parts of words, let's look at these zero markers. So you guys see these circles here with the line through it in the gloss. I'll just give you a brief introductory. This circle, the second one with the dash through it that comes right before the verb root, is always the classifier. This is just one way that the Lingit language adds meaning to make it more specific about the action of sipping hot liquids. So if you look down in the gloss and you see this CL and that it's a zero classifier, then that's what you're looking at in the theme. CL stands for classifier. The other one, the first zero marker you see, this circle with a dash, is specific to who is sipping the hot liquid. So in this case, it's not me, it's not you, it's this third other person. And the way Lingit handles a third person sipping hot liquids or doing any other action is to not make a sound. So there's like this zero marker where it's telling you, oh, we're not making a sound here because we're not talking about me or you or us. We're talking about them. They are sipping a hot liquid. And so that's why in the gloss they put a marker here. But you do have a sound here, this And so the reason the is there is that when we talk about a third person doing something to another third person or object that's neither of us, it's like a third person and a third person or a third person and a food or drink or thing, you add this and that's why it sounds like a shuk. So please repeat after me the first phrase, tahini ashuk.
Achini ashuk.
Ni achlú.
Yeah. And so, who am I talking about when I say ashuk?
Third person.
Yeah, third person, or I saw one of you say someone. So that's good. That's good. Any questions on that? Okay. And we did these. I'm gonna drill these with you. Instead of repeating after me, go ahead and just say them on your own. Go ahead.
Achini.
Ah,
Ni.
ah,
Shayu.
Kayu.
mm,
Kahwe.
ah,
Achini.
Shayu.
Kayu. Kahwe.
mm,
Achini.
mm,
Chayu.
Shayu.
Kayu.
ah.
Ach.
Kahwe.
Good enough, Chish. Thank you. And just to cement these one more time, I think we can jump straight to the. I didn't do drills for these. So, a quick check in. Does this pattern of learning questions work for you guys the way I'm teaching you how to say, what are you sipping? And then what are they sipping?
Yes.
Okay.
Say no.
Um,
I would want to try it back and forth with another person. Be questioned directly by one other person to really have this kind of cemented in.
Okay, good. Okay, awesome. Thank you. So, need to add a drill back and forth to cement the information. Okay, awesome. Gonna cheese. I'll work on that for the next one.
I tend to be a visual person, so when you go back and forth like that, that works really good for me.
Okay, the back and forth in terms of like, what are you sipping? I'm sipping tea.
No, when you're putting it on the slide and you're showing it on the slide and then you're taking it away from the slide, we're bringing it back to the slide and the words next to the slide.
Okay.
That's a visual kind of lesson that's very helpful to me.
Okay, good. Awesome. I want to do a review of our words and then we're going to do the same concept with eating. Okay, so review. For vocabulary, please just say these when you see them. Go ahead.
Luke.
Luke.
Uh,
God.
Ta. Zanti.
uh,
Luke.
Tu.
uh,
God.
God.
Ah.
Santi.
Yao.
uh. Repeat after me. Yao.
Yao.
Uh.
Gao.
Mm-hmm. Uh.
Zisk.
This
Mm. Uh.
Sa. What?
What?
Sa-
Ski.
That's
Okay.
hit.
Hit.
Mhm.
Shawat.
Tikitkia.
Kia.
Tikitkia.
Shay.
Hey.
Good. Any questions on the old vocab? Okay. We'll cover what are you eating? It's going to be pretty similar to what we talked about last week. And last week we were having a conversation about someone else, this other third person. Today we're going to talk directly to our conversation partner about what are you eating? And so I put a comparison on the board so that you can see how the word changes if we're talking about their eating versus your eating. And please repeat the first line after me for what are they eating? Da sa'acha.
Sa'acha.
And then what the next one, what are you eating? Da sa'icha.
Sa'icha.
So I put them in bold. This first one I put the for they are eating just because that's how you would say they are eating. And then the second line I put the double E in bold and I bolded you are eating. So a review from our previous conversation, we're talking about what someone else is eating. Repeat after me. Da sa'acha.
Sa'acha.
Acha.
And the response if they're eating fish. Cha'dacha.
Acha.
And then the new phrases that we're learning today. Da sa'icha.
Sa'icha.
If you want to specify what is that you're eating, then you add this wa to sa. So instead of da sa, you say da sa wa. So repeat after me. Da sa wa icha.
Sa'icha.
Yeah, what is that you're eating? And then if they're eating fish, they would say, repeat after me, chat, chacha.
Chacha.
In the last line, when I'm talking about what I'm eating, I start the word with cha to say I. So chacha is I am eating. The second cha is the root of the word. So if you look in our gloss on this last line, we see the square root symbol over the second cha. And we can look down at the English gloss and see that that is the core meaning, the verb root for it to eat. So cha means I am eating. So one more time, please repeat after me. Chat, chacha.
Chat. Chacha.
Any questions so far? Awesome. Okay, overview. Repeat after me. Da sa'icha.
Sa'icha.
Tuk, chacha.
Chacha.
Chat, chacha.
Chacha.
Ta, chacha.
Chacha.
Zanti, chacha.
Zanti. Chacha.
Okay. Question and answer drills. So again, what are you eating? I'll read the top line and you guys can respond with the bottom line. Da sa'icha. Good. Repeat after me. Tuk, chacha.
Chacha.
Ah. And now you guys ask the top question, and then I'll respond with the bottom line.
Dasa icha.
Okay, for the next ones, I'll read the question and you can read the answer down here. So I'll say dasa icha. You all say qad khacha. Dasa icha.
Qad khacha.
Dasa icha.
Qad khacha.
Dasa icha.
Danti khacha.
Dasa icha.
Qad khacha.
Dasa icha.
Yao khacha.
And then drills for what are they eating? It's going to be similar, but now we're talking about a third person. Overview, repeat after me. Dasa'acha,
Dasa
kuk'acha,
khacha.
qad'acha,
Qad khacha.
ta'acha,
Qad khacha.
zanti'acha.
Danti khacha.
Notice that the verb acha stays the same for person A and for person B because we're both talking about the same person. What are they eating? They're eating coho. So for our drills, I'll be asking you guys what everyone's eating that's not us, and you'll all tell me what they're eating. So I'll read the top line, and you all will say "Tu'ukacha, da sa'acha,
Khacha.
da sa'acha,
Qad khacha.
da sa'acha,
Qad khacha.
da sa'acha."
Danti khacha.
Okay. Any questions about our new material?
Like
Okay. And review of our drills about having. I'm gonna skip that because I want to do our last week you guys practiced these in the breakout rooms. I want to give you more time with them. And so two friends run into each other. Overview, you see your friend and you say repeat after me. How? Hat ihr gut?
how hat ihr gut?
Ik satini.
Yake ichsatini.
Gunalchish. Wasa iati.
Gunarchish wasa iati.
Kelwasa.
Khacha.
So we'll do these drill style. I'll do the top line and you all please read the bottom line. How hat ihr gut?
Yake ichsatini.
Gunalchish. Wasa iati.
Kleshwasa.
Continuing the conversation about where are you staying. Repeat after me. Wasa iduwasak.
Wasa iduasak.
Nila toga yucha duwasak.
Shadyaklayu chaduasak.
Valdids kuchziti.
East River Kukstati.
Kuksayati.
Sayayati.
An chichkaye khatyati.
Herman Valley. Ayaye Khatyati.
Okay. Um, let's practice on being person A and B. I'll be person A and you guys will be person B. Wa sa iduwasak.
Aya yuchaduasa
Kutia kla you hat do a saw.
kach
Houston,
hustati
Cook, City,
Peace River, Cook City.
Guksaya iati.
Anishkabech aye
Carmen Valley, Ayaye hat yeti.
Okay. And now drill style, same conversation. I'll read the top line. You guys respond with the bottom line. Wa sa iduwasak.
Kadia kla you hat do a saw.
And then add this one. Go ahead.
Houston,
Peace
Cook,
River, Alberta, Cook City.
Ah. Guksaya iati.
Anishkabech
Carmen Valley, Alberta, Ayaye hat yeti.
Okay. Really good. Nice. Any questions? It's pretty repetitive, but you guys are starting to sound really natural with them, and that's my goal. So I think it's helping you. Let's continue the conversation. We still have 10 minutes left, so we're going to start to add on to our dialogue. And last time you mentioned that maybe you will be asking each other, where are you going? That's pretty common at celebration to be asking everybody, where are you going next? Because you're watching all the dancers. And there's two different halls where people will be dancing, and they're a close walk from each other. But to continue the conversation about where are you going, I think I'll start with the cultural note. And this is just what I've been taught by Lingit elders, and I want to pass it on. Maybe not everybody has the same views or the same opinions about asking questions and where you're going, but this is what's been shared with me, so I want to pass it on to you. Please don't take it as like I'm the authority on Tlingit culture. Other people might have different opinions. Okay, what I've been taught is it's not polite in Tlingit culture to demand information of people. So the question, where are you going? It might be fine between me and you if we're running into each other, if we're friends and peers and we're both comfortable with it. But I would not purposefully ask an elder where they're going. Um, it's not the end of the world if you do, just maybe not the most polite thing to do for an elder that wasn't raised that way. In English culture, maybe it's normal and polite to be like, oh, where are you going? To show interest. But one of the elders told me it's just kind of this weird feeling they'll have where they're thinking like, none of your business.
What's interesting? My grandma, she would always say, if people want you to know something, they'll tell you. And so it's
Yeah.
interesting just to explain that because it's a different, I mean, it's the same thing. And I didn't really realize that. She's just like, don't ask personal questions because it's not your business. If they want you to know, they're going to let you know. They'll tell you. Don't ask.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Does anyone else have any stories about that or comments or thoughts?
yeah, kind of like the yeah, I love what you said about showing interest and that it's polite in our society to show interest. And so like that is kind of a hard habit to break. Say, trying to chat someone up.
Yeah,
One
I
of the things,
told.
If
oh, go
it's
ahead.
an if you're taught a certain way, like I was raised by my grandma, she told me don't ask questions. And so that really is hard when you're gathering with non-natives because you have to remember that it's okay to ask, oh, where are you going? It's like a conversation icebreaker starter, but not in one culture, but it's okay in another. And so it's interesting how it's so different.
Yeah. What were you gonna say too, K-Watch?
One of the things that I love to do over here at TNH is volunteer at the elders lunch that happens a couple times a month. And just bringing an elder, like if you see they don't have a drink of water or coffee, and just bringing them something like that, they yeah, they'll be kind of demanding at first, like bring me some coffee, and then like once I get over myself and I can bring them a drink, they're always like really chatty and they want to talk, and just yeah, not trying to like pry information out of people too, and just like I had an elder kind of let me know like you can watch and like see what someone needs, and that's a nice way to show interest as well, as like, oh, I was watching, I saw that you didn't have a drink.
That's nice. I like that.
So would it be
Goodness.
wrong to ask, how are you then? Because it's like, none of your
No, I think how are you is
okay,
common.
okay. Just not like
Yeah.
where are you going or how are you feeling? Well, can you ask, I guess, how are you feeling? Well, I don't know. Maybe they don't want to tell you how they're feeling.
Mm.
It's kind of hard. It's you don't want to step over the line. You want to be respectful. So I think it's going to be a learning process if you're not raised in the culture.
Mm-hmm.
You just do more listening than asking, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Same thing, like it's along the lines of what K-Watch said. You watch somebody and you can kind of see what they need.
Mm-hmm.
I fumbled this with the exact elder that shared, like he shared with a whole group, maybe you don't ask people where they're going. And then I specifically did it to him by accident when I saw him at AFN. I was like, "Good day, see ya," and you good, where you going? And he kind of just smiled at me and then just answered me. And it's because he loves me and he was like, okay, she messed up. She knows better, but whatever. It wasn't the end of the world. And then I was kind of thinking like, oh yeah, he said not to ask that.
Oh, grasshoppers. Learned so much to learn.
Yeah.
I think the silence is a big thing too, like the yeah, being okay with like longer than usual silences.
Hmm.
Yeah, watching someone interact with an elder, I think it was maybe last month or something, and she was talking, kind of interviewing this, yeah, one of our leaders, and it was kind of awkward. I noticed she was just like peppering him with questions. I
Mm.
felt like really awkward for that. Why not just give this person space and like you like let them share, like you were talking about, letting them share what they want to share. Uh,
Mm.
but yeah, the interview was felt awkward.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, I know that feeling.
Have you seen that, especially about like cultural things too?
Hmm. I guess before you interview somebody, I don't know what interview you're speaking about, but my initial thought is I just want to ask people, okay, before the interview, okay, what should I not say? Give me any tips. That way I don't do something wrong or disrespectful or um, not courteous, you know.
Mhm.
Oh, that's kinda sad. You know, as we want to respect our elders and
Yeah, it's this whole other thing about like being graceful when mistakes are made too, and like how to navigate that. You're like, oh, that was that was really awkward, but then being able to move on and not let it like bother me and not think less of the person just because they did that.
mhm.
Yeah, yeah, those are all really good points. I watched this video. One of my teachers at UAS asked us all to watch this video before we worked with elders on interviews, and it's called Asking Elders for Help. I tried to find a digitized copy. I can't yet, but it I follow the guidelines on it, and it's really helpful because it's like let the elder know what you need of them, let them know what kind of questions you'll be asking so they know what to expect. Also, don't ask too many questions, like ask one and kind of they'll let you know where they want the conversation to go by just talking about it.
Wow, that's a really sounds like a heck of a helpful video.
Yeah.
My
That's a
goodness,
share.
so valuable.
Yeah. I'll see if I can find at least the title of it. Pretty sure it's called Asking Elders for Help. I think the university might have made it. And I watched it on a DVD. But I'll see if I can find the title.
I know sometimes with my great grandma too, like after a while, she would get tired of speaking Tlingit like it was, I don't know. She would, I think, eventually say that, like I'm getting tired now or whatever. So sometimes too much is too much for them.
Yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, let them know if they start to be like, "Oh, I'm tired of this." They'd be like, "Okay."
Take a
Huh?
take a hint.
Yeah, take a hint.
Yeah.
Read the room.
Okay. Hard.
Yeah, this was a really good discussion. And so for Thursday, we'll drill what we practiced. And then I think next Tuesday, we'll start putting together our dialogue for where you're going next. Any other questions or comments before we go?
I don't know if you are willing to maybe share a little bit about your canoe journey experience too, and like what you're expecting to happen, and
Ooh, that's good.
it might be really interesting because I'm going to be doing the same thing. Yeah, kind of nervous to say I'm nervous on record, but I'm
Yeah.
nervous.
Yeah, good. Are you going to be paddling with Cake?
I'll be paddling with Lingit and Ida
Okay, cool. And will you be starting where are you guys going to start?
from Cake.
Oh, from Cake too. Okay, cool.
Oh, cool. Congratulations ahead of time. That's awesome. What an opportunity.
Yeah.
Both
Yeah,
of
so
you.
y'all, thank you. Yeah, you all better be at the landing ceremony on June 4th.
June 4th. Okay.
Yeah.
Cozy sounds so cool. I wish I could be there. It's been 15 years since I went to Celebration.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, I wish you could be there too.
You guys will have to check out Hakusti, the inland Lingit celebration one of these years too.
Oh, that's like the opposite years, right? So, yeah, I'd love to do.
Yeah.
Where is
Ro-
that at?
Rotates between Carcross, Atlin, and Teslin.
Oh,
So my home community is Carcross. Natasahini, I think, is the next host.
okay. Oh, cool.
Mm,
Oh, thanks for sharing that.
I've got to run. I've got a 1 o'clock.
Adios.
See you again.
Tiagen.
Thursday.
Yeah,